welcome to my channel. My name is Casey and today I'm going to show you my eyeshadow collection. It's a mess. I'm really sorry. It's kind of a disaster. Not to brag, I'm not bragging at all. There's no bragging in here. I do have quite a large eyeshadow collection. It's pretty excessive, especially for how long I have not been collecting makeup. So yeah, but yeah, if you guys want to see what my eyeshadow collection looks like, then go ahead and keep watching. Again, it's excessive. There's a lot of it in here and I shouldn't have this much, but it's okay. I have an addiction. It's okay. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me. And if you want to see my eyeshadow collection, then make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and of course, keep watching. Alrighty, so ignore my feet. This is my blanket with my feet. But we are going to start in drawer number 1. These bottom 2 drawers are just filled with palettes. This one is almost completely eyeshadow palettes. So this is where we're gonna start. First off, to start off, there's this little MAC palette. This is the Pastel times 9. It looks like this. I really don't like this palette. I've used it once and there's just like no pigmentation for it. I just was not impressed. So probably never gonna use that again. Next up we have the Tartist Pro eyeshadow palette from Tarte. And I mean, pretty much everybody's seen this, but one of my favorite palettes ever. The mirror is huge on it. I use it all the time. I use it every day to get ready. Love that. This next one I have is a little Z palette from BoxyCharm. And opening it up, I have 8 shadows here from Makeup Geek. I like them. Yeah, I don't have too much to say about these ones. I haven't used them a lot, but I love this little Z palette. It's so cute. It's just like a little collaboration with Z palette and BoxyCharm. So next up, I have this big Z palette. On one side it's empty, and on this side I have all of my ColourPop eyeshadows. I really, really, really like these. I like the pigmentation. I like the way they feel, how creamy they are. They're so amazing. I like them a lot. Then I have this little Too Faced mini chocolate bar palette. It comes with a chocolate soleil and then 3 shadows. This one though, I think is actually a highlight, but I just got this as a little point part from Sephora. It just came in like a big package and this was the palette that came with it. So next up in here, we're gonna start back here and work our way forward. First I have my Lorac Pro Palette 3. This one is so pretty. I love how neutral it is, and I love this little pop of like yellow and this pop of purple, and then there's the blacks, and then there's all the nudes up here. I love this. It's very neutral. Anybody could use this. And the pigmentation on this is so real. I love this palette. And then back here, I have my Naked Smoky palette, and this is what it looks like. This is, I mean, pretty much everybody has the Naked palettes, but this was my first Naked palette and one of my first high-end palettes. So yeah, I don't use these ones a lot. I have other palettes that I would prefer to use, but I do use them every once in a while. So this one hasn't been used too much. And then in front of that one, I have my Naked 3. This one I use the most out of all of my Naked palettes that I have. It hasn't been used a whole bunch, but I know my sister really likes these ones. She likes them a lot. But they're pretty good. They're pretty soft shadows. The pigmentation could be better, but I work with them when I use them. And then in front of that, I have my Naked 2, and that's what this one looks like. I don't use this one a whole lot either. This one is a more neutral palette. I do keep all of the brushes. I never use these brushes, but I keep them all in here. I should start using them though. I don't know what my obsession with that is, but with all of my palettes, that's how it is. This one is a more neutral palette with just a bunch of gold. Like I said, I don't use this one a whole lot, if at all. So I've used it a few times, but that's that one. And then in front of that, I have my Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. I really, really like this palette. It smells so good. I really like this purple, this pop of purple and the pop of green. I was obsessed with this one for quite a while. I keep my palettes really clean, if you can't tell, so sometimes it looks like I haven't used them, but I have a lot. And I mean, it doesn't even look like I've swatched them, but I have used this. I've given this some pretty good love. And then in front of that one, I have my Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. I am obsessed with this palette. Again, I keep it pretty clean so it doesn't look like I've used it a lot, but I have used the crap out of this palette. I'm not even kidding. Like, it's amazing. I really, really like this palette. It is beautiful. So many warm tones, which is my favorite. I love this, and I've created so many different looks with it, which is one of my favorite things ever about this palette. And I love how it feels on the outside. And then sitting directly in front of that, I have my Anastasia Master Palette by Mario. This one I have used quite a bit as well. I haven't used this as much as my Modern Renaissance. This has some pretty good warm tones, and then it has a couple cool tones in there. The shimmers in this they're like unreal. They're to die for. I'm obsessed with them. They're so pretty. I don't even know how to describe them. They're just, when I used them for the first time, I was like, oh my gosh. But this one's a lot of fun to use too. I really like that one. So NYX has a collection of Dreamcatcher palettes. This is one of them. This is what it looks like. I don't use these ones too often. This is the Stormy Skies one. I think this was the first palette that I got from NYX. And then in front of that one, I have this guy. This is the Dusk Till Dawn. And this is what that looks like. Again, I pretty much never ever use them. If you want to see a tutorial or something on them with me using them, I would love to do that. I pretty much keep the palettes that I like and stick with those. So I really need to jump out of my comfort zone. Then in front of this one, I have the Golden Horizon. I do have this broken one, so I'm going to be extra careful opening this. And it just spilled everywhere. That's what this looks like. I'm not going to hold it around too much. And then in front of those ones, I have all of my Ulta palette. This is the Metals palette. Comes with a brush as well. That's what that looks like. I've used this a couple times. Again, I don't use these ones very often. I tend to stick more to the high end. I don't know if that's me being an annoying person or just the pigmentation, but that's what I tend to do is I find the palettes that I really like and I stick with them. Then directly in front of that, I have my Miss Fabulous palette. This was created by Ulta and Jenny Fox. Jenny Fox is a YouTuber. I've never actually watched her YouTube channel, but I really, really like this palette. It's a pretty good dupe for the Modern Renaissance palette. It's not exact, but it is a pretty close one. That's what that one looks like. I've used this one a couple times. I haven't even taken the brush out of the plastic, but I have used this a few times. And then in front of that one, I have my Prismatic palette from Ulta. That's what that one looks like. It just is a ton of shimmer shades. And then in front of that one, I have my Rose Gold palette. It's just a bunch of rose gold colors. And then next in here, I have my Jeffree Star Beauty Killer palette. I haven't used this one a lot. The pans are huge in it. I didn't fall in love with it, but it is a really gorgeous palette and there's a lot of fun colors. I was really excited for this black, but then there was no shimmer in it when I actually put it in my eye, or on my eye. But this gold's really hard to work with, I have found. But this is a really pretty color. This Confession Vanity was a little chalky, but I mean all of like the lighter colors. I haven't used this blue, but like this one was fun to work with, and then these ones worked pretty well, so that's what I found in here. And then next in here I have my Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye palette. I really like this palette. The colors are really neutral. You have cool tones, warm tones, neutral tones. Anybody could use this and love it. I haven't given it too much love, but I do really, really like this. I even tried using this shade right here as a contour color, and it didn't work out, just so you know. And then directly in front of that, I have my Kat Von D Shade and Light Face palette. I use the crap out of this. I haven't had it very long, but I have given it quite a bit of love. And then directly in front of that, I have this big giant palette. This is the Kat Von D Metal Matte palette, and I'll just give you a nice little glimpse of it. I have used this several times. It's really, really pretty. I really like this. It's Gigantor, and it has a Gigantor mirror, but this one is a keeper. I really like that one. I have my Too Faced and Nikkie Tutorials The Power of Makeup. I didn't love this one. I didn't fall in love with it. I've used it a few times, but again, I didn't fall in love with it. I have a tutorial on it if you want to see what I thought of it. It gives first impressions, gives a little review, and a tutorial. So if you want to see that, I have one in previous videos. And then in front of that, I have this Ofra Pro palette. It's just a little Z palette, and that has 6 of the Ofra eyeshadows and 1 blush. I got all of these out of a BoxyCharm. Actually, I got this out of an Ipsy bag, but I got these 6 shadows and the actual palette out of a BoxyCharm one month. So there's that. And then in front of that, I have my Urban Decay Electric palette. I don't know where my brush went out of here. I have used this quite a few times. This is kind of a hit or miss palette. It just depends on the color that you're using. I have gotten some good use out of this though. I really like it. Urban Decay has pretty good eyeshadows, but this one wasn't my favorite, but like I said, it's really hit or miss. It just depends on the shade you're using, really. And then behind that, I have my Urban Decay and Gwen Stefani palette, and this is what this one looks like. Lots of neutrals in here, and then there's just a couple pops of color. I've used this quite a few times. I really like this one as well. Lots of fun to use. It has really pretty colors in it. I have my Urban Decay Moondust palette. These ones are used more as glitters as opposed to shimmer shades. I will say that. These are really hard to work with, so be careful. Like I said, use them as glitters instead of eyeshadows. I have my Morphe and Kathleen Lights palette. I really like this. I actually kind of forgot that I had it, to be completely honest. I need to jump back into this. This is oh, I just jammed my finger into it. I'm really proud of Kathleen for even making this with Morphe. This is it's a really beautiful palette. I really like this pop of green and all the warm tones that we have, and then there's a couple cool tones. I really like this. This brown color right here is to die for. I really like this pop of red. Beautiful palette. I really like it. I have this e.l.f. palette that I never use. This is the, it doesn't say. It's broken, but that's okay. Just a lot of neutrals. I never use this, and I need to give it to somebody else because I never use it. And then next I have the Bare Minerals Wishlist palette. I really like this palette, and I forgot again that I had it. I have so many palettes and I need to go through and use them more. I made a video on this, a tutorial. I really like this. This has amazing pigment, and I love all the neutral shades in here. So pretty. Next up, I have this palette from L'Oreal. Most of my palettes are high-end, I'm sorry, but that's just what I find to, I mean, there are definitely some palettes from drugstore brands that are amazing, but I just tend to find that I really like the high-end palettes more, so I apologize for that. This one I haven't given a lot of love to either. This was one of my first palettes that I got when I got into makeup last year. It was about this time last year. So there's that one. Next up, I have this Ulta Hello Beautiful palette. It comes with bronzer, which this is way too orange, or I guess that could be a blush, but I would not use these. This is not the most pigmented highlight, but it's aight. This has a little pretty blush. I don't use this a lot. I would use it for the eyeshadow as opposed to the rest of it. I did give this a little bit of love when I first got it. I haven't really touched it since. This is the BH Cosmetics and Carly Bible palette. Congratulations to Carly Bible. I know this was about a year ago, but it is really pretty. I honestly haven't used this yet. I haven't even swatched it, but that highlight, oh my gosh, that is what I need to use. Okay, this is a really neutral palette. It doesn't have very many mattes, but it has just enough to create a beautiful look. This I did use quite often. This was my first high-end palette. This was my first palette getting back into makeup. About a year ago, my family came into town. I went to Sephora with my mom and my older sister, and I bought this palette because I decided I wanted to get back into makeup. This is what it looks like. I was obsessed with it. I used it every day. This shade I would actually use to fill in my eyebrows, so that's kind of fun, but I think I'll always keep this just because it has really good memories. It's what got me started to be on this journey today, and without getting this, I probably wouldn't even be filming this right now. So this, it holds a lot of memories, and it's a really pretty palette. It has like a lot of neutral tones in there, and that pop of purple is a lot of fun. So this is the Overcast Filter palette. This next one I have not used. I won this in a little contest at work one day. This is the Transformation palette from Pure Cosmetics. This pop of gold is absolutely gorgeous. There are these creams down here that I'm never gonna use. I don't like creams. Maybe as a base, maybe. But then there's a couple neutral shades up there. Next we have my Studio Makeup On The Go eyeshadow palette. This is the cool toned one. I am obsessed with this palette. I really like this. It's so pretty, and all of these shades I love. And I have used this, I have given this quite a bit of love. And then directly in front of that, I have my Studio Makeup On The Go, the warm toned eyeshadow palette. I have given this one quite a bit of love as well. Again, I keep my palettes really clean. It drives me nuts to see them dirty. That is why they do not look dirty, but I have given these a lot of love. And then next up, I have my Kylie Cosmetics Holiday Edition palette. I haven't given this one much love. It made me really mad because this blue one keeps popping out, so I just never really use it because it made me so mad. And then directly in front of that, I have my Makeup Forever. This is the volume 2. Oh yeah, volume 2 shadows. This is what it looks like. I've given this a little bit of love, not too much. It's all shimmers, so I just jump in here whenever I'm like, oh, I want a little pop of color. This green is so pretty, and that blue, that gold is really pretty. And then in front of that, I have my Tarte Energy Noir palette. This highlight is to die for. I am obsessed with this. I always forget that I have this because it's so small and just sits right in there, but it's so cute. And I need to use it. I'm gonna make a tutorial with it. I have this BH Cosmetics Wild and Alluring palette. This is a really interesting palette. Opening it up, it's just like a bunch of baked shadows, and they're all different colors, but like when you touch it and swirl it around, like it turns into a really like pretty, they're so cool. And I use these every once in a while when I just want to add like some fun to my look, but they're so pretty. I really like this palette. And then I just have some empty palettes from ColourPop. I have 4 of them, because I don't put them in here, I put them in my Z palette. So this drawer is not only eyeshadows, but it is also face palettes. So this will be fun. This is all sorts of palettes, all sorts of everything. So I apologize. It's a disaster. I'm really sorry. It is what it is. I need I need to reorganize. I need to get more drawers, and I need to find a better way to organize. So I'm sorry, it is what it is. We're gonna deal with it. So right on top here, I have my Lorac Pro Contour Palette. I use the crap out of this. I use it pretty much every time I do my makeup. I love this light color to do some bronzer. And this highlight is amazing. Just looking at it, you're like, oh, it's not really anything. But then, oh my gosh, oh, putting it on the cheeks is so pretty. So I have this Morphe palette. This is the 25B, the bronzed mocha. So pretty. I've used this so much. I've only had it for a little while, but I've used the crap out of this for not having it very long. Next up, I have my Anastasia Glow Kit in the shade, or in the Sun Dipped. I actually haven't used this in quite a while. This was my go-to palette all the time. I love this summer shade, the Moonstone and the Tourmaline. This one I just do for like a fun pop of color. For highlight, I've actually never used the bronze because it's too dark for my skin. Next, right on top, I have this BH Cosmetics Foil Eyes 20 color eyeshadow palette. And this one's a lot of fun. It's nothing like a Morphe shimmer shade or anything like that, but it does have some fun pops of color in there. So whenever, again, I want just like a fun pop of color, I'll just grab this and use it. I don't use it very often though. And then next, sitting right on top, is the Lorac Mega Pro 3 palette. I have used this quite a bit. I love all these shimmers. That's what I normally reach for. I had to have this and then I never ever use it, so I don't really know what I'm doing. But so amazing. I love Lorac shadows. This one is the Morphe 350S palette, the shimmer. All shimmers. I have used the crap out of this. You can see it. I've used every single shade. I love this palette so much. This shade down here, so beautiful, and popping this one right on top is absolutely gorgeous. I love this palette. There's the 350M, the matte. I broke this shade. It's so sad. I used to use this shade as my eyebrow color too. So that's kind of funny. But I've used the crap out of this. Again, it doesn't really look like it, but I have. I've used this so much. And then below that one, I have another Morphe palette. This is the 35F palette, the Fall into Frost. I love this. I mostly use this for the shimmers. That shade right there is gorgeous. But every once in a while, I'll tap into the mattes down here. But usually I just jump in here for shimmers. And then, don't worry, there's more. There's two more. This is the 35S palette. And it just has a ton of colors in here. So whenever I need a pop of color, I'll jump in here. I don't very often though. Don't use this palette as much as I should. I should give it some more love. I have my 35P palette. This is the Plum palette. I have given this a little bit of love, not very much. It's on the bottom of my drawer, so I don't see it very often. But this is a really fun palette. If you have brown eyes, you need this palette in your life, and that's all I have to say. I have all of my Jeffree Star Skin Frost. I have 6 of them. This one is so sad, it makes me cry. This is the Onyx Ice. I broke half of it. Oh my god, I broke more than half of it. I need a new one because look. In front of that, I have Princess Cut, and that's what she looks like, a really pretty baby pink. Next I have Peach Goddess, and that's what this one looks like, really pretty. And then I have my Deep Freeze, it's really pretty blue. And then I have Lavender Snow, which is this one right here. And then my last one is Regina George. I actually hate this because it is dried out and disgusting. Moving along, I have this blush and bronzer mini palette from Coastal Scents. I haven't used it a whole lot. I'm not a huge fan of this palette. This one is on the floor because it was in my singles. This is the Naked Cosmetics. I don't remember what it's called, but it's just a little threesome. I really like these shades. I just got it in my BoxyCharm. And then right here, I have my Jaclyn Hill and Becca palette. I love this palette. When I first started makeup stuff, I fell in love with Jaclyn Hill, and she kind of inspired me to do makeup, basically. And when I saw that she was coming out with this palette, it was about that time, and so this was one of the first things that I've gotten for my face. So this one holds a lot of meaning to me too. But right in front of there is my NYX Cosmetics. This is the Highlight and Contour Pro palette. I have used the crap out of this, and you can see it. This has some wear and tear on it. And then in front of that, I have my Anastasia Glow Kit. This is the Ultimate Glow Kit. I hate this. I don't hate this, but I don't necessarily like it. It's really like flaky, I guess. I don't know, it's just not the same as her other glow kits. And then I also hold all of my single eyeshadows in here, so I'll just go through those real fast. I have my ColourPop Super Shock Pressed Pigment in the shade Erotic, this really pretty red color. I have this MAC pigment in the shade Process Magenta, and then I have my Urban Decay single eyeshadow in the shade Tonic, really, really pretty. And then I have another ColourPop Super Shock Pressed Pigment. This is in the shade Fantasy. It's really pretty purple color. I have these cream eyeliners, which are probably dried out and I need to throw them away. And then I just have some mineral setting powder from Ulta. This is Too Faced glitter. It came with the Nikki Tutorials palette. And then I have this Color Tattoo Metal 24-hour eyeshadow by Eye Studio. This is by Maybelline. It's just gold. And then I have this Lock Smoke Screen One and Done eyeshadow stick. Toddy, she collabed with them and did this. It's really, really pretty. And then I have this Makeup Geek pigment in the shade Kaleidoscope. And then I have this little Maybelline Eye Studio, just this little palette. I have this little NYX shade. This is in the shade Punk Heart. I have another Morphe palette. This is the Jaclyn Hill Favorites palette from oh my god. I paid so much money for this, and I just ruined it. Okay, well. So next I have this Anastasia and Nicole Guerrero Glow Kit. I love this, so pretty. Congratulations to Nicole. So pretty. I love this palette. Ignore my foot in the background. It's so asleep and I need to wake it up. Okay, and then next I have the Morphe 9N blush palette. So pretty. And then the Desi Danger highlight palette. And then I have the Urban Decay Urban Spectrum eyeshadow palette. I don't use this a lot. I think it's a really weird palette. And then next I have this little IBY Beauty palette. I forgot that I had this too. Just a few shades in there. And then I have a Dirty Little Secret eyeshadow in the shade Teaser. I have another Makeup Geek pigment in the shade Hologram. This is a cream shadow from Kylie Cosmetics from her holiday collection in the shade Golden Plum. This is a really, really pretty color. And then I have this little e.l.f., just like a little paint pot, in the shade Ain't That Sweet. I have another Kylie Cosmetics cream shadow. This is in the shade Yellow Gold. And then I have another ColourPop Super Shock shadow. This is in the shade Bites. It's just white. And then I have a Sephora glossy eyeliner. So next I have a Beauty For Real shadow stick. Really, really pretty color. This is in the shade All Day Latte. Really pretty. And then I have this little palette it's called Pixie, or it's from Pixie by Petra. Really pretty, lots of neutrals in there. This is the Tartelette Tease palette. I really, really like this as well. Then I have a colorful single eyeshadows from Ulta. This is in the shade Key West. This is Havana Nights from Ulta. And then I have the Copper Spice palette from Morphe. I have this Urban Decay XX Vice LTD Reloaded palette. I've given this quite a bit of love. It's a lot of fun to use. There's lots of pops of colors, and it's not really anything. It's just a fun palette. And then I have my Tarteist Pro Glow palette from Tarte. I've given this a lot of love as well. I love this bronzer and I love this highlight right here. I've never used the cream bronzer. Here's another eyeshadow from Ulta. This is in the shade Love. Sterling from Ulta. Little Too Faced A Totally Cute palette. And then I have this little single eyeshadow. It's from The Balm. It's Meet Matte Trimony. And then last but not least, I have this giant thing from e.l.f. Oh, wait, let's do this. I have this Thrive Cosmetics Brilliant Eye Brightener. And then I have this giant thing from e.l.f. I gave this quite a bit of love when I first started using makeup. And then opening it up, I just gave that shadows love, not the rest of it. But there's a bunch of lipsticks. There's some like bronzers with shimmer in them, which I don't like. Blush with shimmer, don't like. So yeah, and then some brushes down in there. Now I'm just gonna put all these back. And that is all for my eyeshadow collection today. I hope that you enjoyed. Sorry that it's disgusting. I really need to get a better way of organizing things. I'm going to upgrade all of my stuff soon. My drawers are a disaster and it's really embarrassing, so I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry to all of you that are OCD and couldn't even stand to look at these drawers. They're pretty bad. But again, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. And yeah, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and keep watching out for more videos. You know the drill. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me, and I will catch you later. Bye!